Good morning, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Awareness. This is our morning meditation, and I invite you to take a few deep cleansing breaths just to center yourself right here in this moment. Feel your chair supporting you. Feel your feet on the floor, grounding you to Mother Earth. Knowing that groundedness and centeredness is always there. And I invite you just to focus on the top of your head and just relax the top of your head. Maybe even rub your temples. And just invite that relaxation down further to your eyes and your ears. Into your neck, maybe rolling your neck a little bit. And down to your shoulders, maybe rolling your shoulders. And like a refreshing waterfall, this relaxation, this peace, slowly goes down into your heart. And your solar plexus, your stomach. Down your arms and your fingers. Down to your hips and your knees. And finally down to the soles of your feet and your toes. Just feeling yourself completely relaxed. And I invite you to do some coherence breathing with me this morning. I invite you to breathe in 4 to 5 seconds. Pause. And breathe out slowly, 4 to 5 seconds. And again, breathing in slowly, 4 to 5 seconds. Pausing and breathing out 4 to 5 seconds. And as you're doing this breathing, I invite you to breathe through that heart center as if it were your heart that was breathing. Maybe imagine an image of a flower unfolding or a spiral twirling and opening. As you're breathing slowly, feel the softening of that heart center. Just slowly breathing in and out through the heart, feeling it open and soften. This weekend, we celebrate the life of Martin Luther King Jr. We might be feeling some despair over the divisiveness of where we are in our country and how much further we still have to go to achieve his dream. But we know that what we see around us are conditions, and conditions can change. Ernest Holmes says, "There is something within you which is complete awareness of its oneness with power, of its unity with life. Lose all thoughts of discord and fear, and permit the true pattern to come to the surface." We know that God, that energy back of all things, that energy that permeates all things, we know that through God all things are possible. We know that our thoughts are creative and influential, and when we couple our thoughts with elevated emotions, we can change our life and situations. So today I invite you to continue with that heart breathing and to call up an elevated emotion that you would like for our country. Be it more peace, more harmony, more love, more freedom. And as you breathe in through your heart, just focus on that emotion, bringing it up into fruition. And now extending it out past your heart to those around you. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or you're at home, just imagine this feeling moving out into your neighborhood, permeating the lives of everyone. And now stretching it out further to your city or your town. And to the county. And the state. And to our whole country. And perhaps even the world. And as we go into the silence, I invite you just to continue breathing, spreading this emotion that you chose to all people, all animals, to everyone and everything. And now I invite you to take a few deep, regular breaths. Coming back into this place. And I leave you with another quote from Ernest Holmes this morning. Realizing that all action starts in and is a result of consciousness. Prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer. And feeling your feet on the floor, wiggling your toes and fingers. Just coming back fully present into this space, into this place and time. Thank you. Namaste.
Good morning, CSA. To those of you who are here physically and those of you who are streaming, glad to see you. Just grateful to be here. Wanted to say hello to Mitch, Jermaine, and Bess. Oh, also Douglas and Franklin. There's a lifting of the hands. There's a lifting of the arms. There's a lifting of the hands. Beyond the hills to where my help comes from. Sing it with me, CSA. There's a lifting of the hand. There's a lifting of the heart. There's a lifting of the eyes. Beyond the hills to where our help comes from. We will lift. We will lift up our hands. We will lift up our hearts. We will lift up our eyes. Beyond the hills to where our help comes from. Our help comes from you. Our help comes from you. We lift up our hands. Our help comes from you. We lift up our hearts. Our help comes from you. We lift up our eyes to where our help comes from. There's a lifting. There's a lifting. lifting of the hand. There's a lifting of the heart. There's a lifting of the eyes. Beyond the hills to where our help comes from. We realize where our help comes from. We realize where our help comes from. We realize where our help comes from. We want to say hello to Rebecca, Layla, T, and Leslie. Thank you so much for joining us. There is power in the name of Spirit. There is power in the name of Spirit. There is power in the name of Spirit to break every chain, break every chain. Break every chain, break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. And there is healing. There is healing in the name of Spirit. There is healing in the name of Spirit. There is healing Spirit to break every chain, break every chain, break every chain, to break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. And there is love. There is love in the name of Spirit. There is love in the name of Spirit. There is love in the name of Spirit to break every chain, break every chain, break every chain, to break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. And I wore this shirt today to remind you that there is also kindness in the name of Spirit. And we need to practice that kindness as we deal with adversity, as we deal with diversity, and as we deal with understanding that we are different and we are meant to be different, but we are also the same. We're all from the same God. We all come from the same love, and we should all share that same love through kindness and breaking those chains of division. Division will divide us, and we need to come together and unify. Unify in the things that we find that are the same within each other. Unify in the things that we see about each other that we love and we know we love. And don't worry about those other things. They're meant to show how different we are, how individual we are, how special we are. And all of those things can coexist together in one world, in unity. But we have to be kind. We have to break that chain that makes us want to say that we're different and we're better, because we're not. We're better when we are unified. We're better when we are one. We're better when we are all God's children playing together, not not all God's children fighting each other. So I want to challenge you to break that chain that tells you that you need to be somebody other than someone else. Instead, be the same person, be the same child of God, and say, I love you. Break that chain. Break that chain. Here we go, let's break those chains. I hear those chains falling. I hear those chains falling. Yeah, yeah. I hear those chains falling. So let's break every chain, come on. To break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. To break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. Come on and break those chains. To break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. One more time, let's sing it. To break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. Well, now's the time where we like to send our little ones back, and I think they're already back there partying. So we're going to celebrate the little one inside of all of us. Spirit loves the little children, all the children of the world. No matter who you are, you're a bright and shining star. Spirit loves the little children of the world. I miss this groove. I missed all of you too. Quarantine just let me realize how much I love these people here and all of you at home as well. So I'm so glad to be back here with all of you, celebrating the love and the spirit that we all have within us. Can we do it together? Sing along, come on, here we go. One nation under a groove, sing praises. One nation under a groove, sing praises. Yes. Let's do that again. Come on, come on. One nation under a groove, sing praises. Sing praises. One nation under a groove, sing praises. Now let's declare it and say this affirmation. Say, I feel alright. 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 Come on. Let me hear you say yeah. Say yeah. Say yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel alright. 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 One nation, come on. One nation under a groove, sing praises. Yeah. One nation under a groove, sing praises. I hope you woke up and said this because I did. Said, I look alright. 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 Come on, let me hear you say yeah. Say yeah. Say yeah. Oh yeah. I look alright. 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 One nation. Come on. One nation under a groove, sing praises. Come on, everybody, sing One Nation.
One nation under a groove, sing praises.
Now this one you really gotta believe it when you say it. Say, I am alright.
I am alright.
I am alright.
I am alright.
I am alright. I am alright.
I am alright.
I am alright.
I am alright.
I am alright.
I am alright.
I am alright. I am alright. Let me hear you say yeah. Say yeah. Say yeah. Oh yeah. I am alright.
I am alright.
I am alright.
I am alright.
I am alright. I am alright. Hold on. Break it down. Are you alright? Can I hear you in here? Are you alright?
Yes.
What about you at home? Type it in. Let me know that you're alright. And if you're not alright, it's okay. We're going to get there together. But we got to first claim that we're going to be alright, okay? So if you're not alright yet, say, I'll be alright. Can we agree to that?
Yeah.
Can we say we're going to be alright today? I want everybody and you at home to sing along when we say we'll be alright. You ready? And say it with conviction and mean it, so that way we know how to support you. Here we go. Come on, say, I'll be alright.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright. I'll be alright.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright. I'll be. Now let's cement it. Let me hear you say yeah. Say yeah. Say yeah. Oh yeah. I'll be alright.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright.
I'll be alright. I'll be alright. One nation, come on. One nation under a groove, sing praises. Come on, everybody, sing one nation. One nation.
Sing praises.
Everybody sing one nation. One nation under a groove, sing praises. One more time, make it good. Here we go, come on. One nation under a groove,
Sing praises.
Sorry, I got a little carried away. But I was feeling all right, looking all right, and I am all right. So
Gonna be all right.
that was my jam. Let's do this. We got some more to go. Now let's praise that Lord that's within us right now. You didn't have to sit down. You can still dance. Get on up. Clap your hands. Come on. We got one more. You at home, clap your hands. Let's go. Praise the Lord in me. Praise the Lord in me. Praise the Lord in me. Praise the Lord. Now you sing hallelujah. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Come on, sing hallelujah. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Bless the Lord.
Bless the Lord in me. Bless the Lord in me. I wish I had a witness out there right now. Bless the Lord in me. Do I have two or three? Bless the Lord. Now you sing hallelujah. Yeah. Come on, sing hallelujah. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. My favorite verse. Let's do it.
Dance before the Lord.
Dance before the Lord. Dance before the Lord. Dance
Before the
now you sing hallelujah. Yeah. Come on, sing hallelujah. Yeah. Come on, sing hallelujah. Yeah. Come on, sing hallelujah. Yeah.
morning, church. God is good when? I'm so glad you're in the church that love is building here in West Sacramento. Welcome, Jerry, Jonice, Elizabeth, Shauna, Kathy, and Susan, and all of you here in the church this morning. I'm so grateful that you came out. We're a church with many, many, many beliefs, and they all boil down to these four. The four beliefs are these. Number one is that God is all there is. There's no other oppositional power to that power. There's no external evil. There's no external devil. Now, you and I know there's plenty of evil and plenty of devilishness in this world, but we believe it starts and stops right here in the minds of human beings. The second belief that we have is that all thought is creative and influential, and as a result of that, we're thoughtful what kind of thinking that we do around here. We don't beat ourselves up. We have a funky thought, a mean-spirited thought. We just put in a new thought and keep moving on. We're not a shaming tribe. We're not a blaming tribe. We just put in a new thought and keep moving. The third belief that we have is that everything in our experience is either a call for love or an expression of love. Oh my goodness, are you awake this morning? No exceptions, none zip. And sometimes ugly calls for love can come ugly and they can come clumsy. But if we can return love to them, we can transform that moment and begin to transform the planet. The last belief that we have that we hold on to with all of our heart, all of our mind, and all of our soul is that you are whole, perfect, and complete just as you are right this second. So knowing that that's the kind of church you're in, I'd just like to welcome any second-time visitors. If this is your second visit at CSA, would you just raise your hand because our usher has a gift for you. Second-time visitors over here, right here. I'm so glad you came back. All right, good. And now any first-time visitors. If you're a first-time visitor at CSA, we're not going to ask you to stand up, but raise your hand. Yes, we have a gift for you. And back over here, PJ, back over there. Good, so glad you're here. Thanks for being here.
So glad you came to celebrate Spirit. You are welcome here. We hope this isn't your last time. Anytime you're passing by, you are welcome here. So glad you came. Feel free to worship and celebrate Spirit's name. So glad you came to celebrate Spirit. You are welcome here.
Welcome to Douglas, Franklin, Marcia, Janice, and Nilda.
Got to get that mask off before you walk up. Good morning, everybody. My name's Leah Eldridge. I'm one of your board members here. Please join me in reading the Center's mission statement. The Center for Spiritual Awareness is a diverse and caring community in which we share spiritual nourishment and celebrate all paths to God through the principles of science of mind. Today's altar flowers are from Reverend Georgia, and her note reads, "Happy birthday, Donna." The love of my life and amazing First Lady of CSA, you bring sunshine. Happy birthday. Registration for new classes are now open. Foundations with Reverend Dr. Mignon Pollard starts on January 25th. I'm sorry, registration's open now. Foundations itself starts on January 25th. Ministerial intern Mitch Austin's very popular Rise and Speak class is starting on January 20th. Flyers are available. All of these are in-person only classes, and flyers are in the lobby. Adventure Ministry, we are going snowshoeing on Saturday, January 29th. Flyers are in the lobby for that as well. And do we have a me available to come up and talk? Okay, here we go.
Thank you all, and good morning, CSA. You may want to have a pen and paper ready. I'm here on behalf of the succession team. of CSA that is currently endeavoring and working hard towards securing a senior minister in the retirement of Reverend Dr. Georgia. We have received applications, and this week the succession team met to review, and we are now coordinating for the interviews that will be happening in February. This is where your pen and paper come in handy. Sunday, February 6th, the 20th, and the 27th. We encourage all participation. We really want you, if you are able and comfortable, to be here, to listen to our candidates. Your feedback is so important. It is going to be so important to help inform the team and our recommendation, and to inform the board of directors in their final decision. But for a moment, I want you to think about that theme, embracing change together in joyous anticipation. While we recognize that many folks may be feeling more apprehension than anticipation, it is the power of this community, the collective power, for us to reach and call upon each other and step into it. The metaphysical power, thank you. The metaphysical power of anticipation helps us to see with eyes of all the things and all the blessings and all the benefits that our community offers to us. It is with this mindset that brings us together joyously in anticipating this process of change and of growth. You see, joyous anticipation is to expect that which is good and very good, and to see it before us. And it activates it in our community right here. I want you to see this process as something that is joyous as we are doing it together. Together, we joyously offer a spiritual center where all are welcome. We are all honored fearlessly and lovingly, sacredly aligned with spiritual principles. Together, we joyously co-create and sustain our spiritual community through the pandemic. Together, we joyously schedule and prepare our schedules to be present and participate and encourage others to participate in the Sundays on February 6th, the 20th, and the 27th. You see how I weave that in there? And we take intentional time to offer our feedback in our active listening. It's so important. Together, we joyously understand that my consciousness and feedback helps inform the board of directors who make the final decision regarding the next senior minister. Together, we joyously and intentionally stay informed about the succession plan and hold CSA, Reverend Dr. Georgia, and the succession team and the board of directors in highest consciousness, and our candidates. And with this together, we joyously ensure the enduring 23+ years legacy of compassion, generosity, and social justice that is Reverend Dr. Georgia. So thank you for listening. Mark your calendars, look at your e-blast, stay informed, and I will be here after service to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ami. All right, so we are now offering prayer after service up here in the front. If you'd like to take advantage of this, please take a seat in the front row directly in front of me here, and a practitioner will call for you. Only vaccinated practitioners are offering this service at this time. And that's it for now, and it is a great time to shut off your cell phones. It's time for church.
And now it's time to center ourselves and prepare ourselves. Welcome Rosemarie, Joanna, Denise, and Steve. I just want to begin by acknowledging and honoring the Patwin, Maidu, and Nisenan First Peoples for their original and continued stewardship of this land upon which CSA stands. And now, if there are people in your heart that you would like to celebrate their spirit with you this morning, will you just speak their name aloud? Maybe they're traveling or not feeling well, or whatever the reason. Maybe it's an animal that you have. Whatever the reason they're in your heart this day, will you speak their name aloud as I light this memory candle? Eleanor, Emma, Jesus, Joe, Miles, Avery. I light this candle in their name and in the name of peace everywhere. And now it's time to anchor ourselves in prayer. So as I sound my bowl 3 times, I invite you to allow the tone of this bowl to take you deep into that place where no harm has ever come. Deep into that place where you know and you know you know you are whole, perfect, and complete.
I need to be still. Still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. When the world starts to push and shove me, I need to be still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. When the world starts to push and shove me, I need to be still and let God love me.
And it is in this stillness that I realize and recognize that God is all there is. Known by many names: Buddha, Allah, Elohim, the thing itself, the quantum field. But whatever you choose to call it, it is the energy back of all things. It is the energy that permeates the mountains, the water, the skies, these beautiful skies that we've had with these winter sunsets. It is the energy that flows through us. It is in our muscles, our cells, absolutely everything. It is everywhere, in everything. And I know that I'm unified and connected to this source of all. It lives in me. It moves in me. It has its being in me, around me, through me. And what is true for me is true for everyone here and everyone hearing my voice, that this divine spirit is all of us. And it is in this place of connection to Source that I speak my word for oneness, for this oneness of mind, oneness of our hearts, oneness of that remembering that we are connected to Source. And I speak my word today knowing that there is an abundance of prosperity in the financial realm, in all of my finances. I speak my word knowing that there is an abundance of prosperity in all my relationships, be it at work, at home, that there is love and joy and laughter. And I know what is true for me is true for everyone hearing the sound of my voice. I know there is abundance of health and wholeness, that this divine spirit is connecting all parts of my body, making them whole and complete. And I speak my word today for wisdom, knowing that there is wisdom in today's message, knowing that what we need to hear, we will hear, and that it will fill our hearts and our minds in just the way it needs to, knowing that this service today will unfold in grace just as it should. And I give thanks today for everyone who has made this service possible. I give thanks to the music ministry and the sound team, to all the practitioners, to the board members, to the ushers, to the teachers, to everyone in the back who has helped to put this service together. And I give thanks for everyone here and listening online, because together we are a community of fellowship, a community of light and of love. And I give thanks for everyone. And it is from this place of gratitude, deep gratitude, that I just say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know a word spoken is a word manifest. I know that this prayer will not return void. I know that it is here, it is done, and it is present right now. And together we can say, and so it is. Good morning, everyone. My name is Karen Holt, and I'm blessed to be one of your licensed practitioners. In your bulletin, you had an affirmation card, and it will be on the wall behind me. I'm going to read it once, and then I'll ask you to stand and join me. Today, I am willing to accept parts of my life that I have resisted accepting. Forgiveness of self is a powerful spiritual practice. And if you are able, please join me. Today, I am willing to accept parts of my life that I have resisted accepting. Forgiveness of self is a powerful spiritual practice. And so it is.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Rick. This morning's reading comes from an essay by Debbie McDaniel, 20 Things You May Not Know About Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in 1929 and named Michael King Jr. But after his dad, inspired by a trip to Germany and the Protestant Reformation leader Martin Luther, changed his own name to Martin Luther King, he also changed his son's name to Martin Luther King Jr. at the age of 5. At the age of 12, King's grandmother died of a heart attack. He blamed himself for her death and even attempted suicide afterwards by jumping out of a second-story window. King wrestled with bouts of depression during his growing up years. Though his father was a preacher, he was originally very skeptical about Christianity and struggled with doubt. It's known that he concluded that the Bible was many profound truths and one that one cannot escape, and decided to further his learning at seminary. He skipped the 9th and 12th grades of high school, but was able to begin college at the age of 15 after passing the entrance exam. He graduated with a bachelor's degree at the age of 19. Dr. King went on from there to study theology at Crozier Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania, where he became the student body president. It is said that he made the choice to enter the ministry after deciding that the church offered the most assuring way to answer an inner urge to serve humanity. He and his new wife, Coretta Scott King, married in 1953 and spent their wedding night in a funeral parlor owned by a friend because honeymoon suites were not available for African Americans at the time. Martin Luther King Jr. first became a pastor at age 25 at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. Then in 1959, 5 years later, he went on to co-pastor alongside his father at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia. In 1956, King's home was bombed in response to his involvement with the Montgomery bus boycott the year before. Though his wife and his firstborn daughter were home at the time, no one, thankfully, was injured. In 1958, Dr. King was attacked at a Harlem book signing by a mentally ill woman. And reports say the stabbing nearly cost Dr. King his life, requiring hours of delicate surgery to remove Mrs. Curry's blade, a 7-inch ivory-handled steel letter opener, which lodged near his heart. If he had sneezed, his doctors later told him he would not have survived. He was arrested 30 times during his lifetime. He was under surveillance by the FBI for years, though no ties to alleged communist influence was ever found or validated. He made many friends and had strong supporters throughout his life, including Dr. Billy Graham, Maya Angelou, Dr. Ralph Abernathy. He traveled to India and greatly respected the teaching of Mahatma Gandhi. He was influenced by the writings and belief of Abraham Lincoln and Henry David Thoreau. He was a huge Star Trek fan, and mostly notable of all, it is said that his greatest influence in his life came from the teachings of Jesus Christ through the Gospels. Dr. King's final words were to his lifelong friend and musician, Ben Branch. Ben, make sure you play Take My Hand, Precious Lord in the meeting tonight. Play it real pretty. Moments later, on April 4th, 1968, he was assassinated on the balcony of his hotel room. Though he died at the age of 39, medical autopsy revealed that his heart was like a 60-year-old, though mostly due to stress. Dr. King's own mother, Mrs. Alberta Williams King, was shot and killed in 1974. Years after his own death, as she sat and played the organ at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. According to Nobelprize.org, at the age of 35, Martin Luther King Jr. was the youngest man to have received the Nobel Peace Prize. When notified of his selection, he announced that he would turn over the prize money of $54,000 to the forbearance of the civil rights movement. It is said that the fight to make Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday a holiday took 32 years. President Ronald Reagan signed the bill in November 1983, and the first federal holiday was celebrated in 1986. He is one and only of 2 Americans who have a federal holiday named after them, and the other is George Washington. Dr. King was the author of many books and famous speeches. He is known he's known as one of the greatest communicators of all time. It is known that one of his most memorable speeches, I Have a Dream, was improvised at the end when he left the prepared text in response to gospel singer Mahalia Jackson's cry, "Tell him about the dream, Martin." Though he had received many honors and awards through his life, and even after his tragic death, he asked that at the end of his life, he only be remembered with the words he wrote. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. And I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. All of the other shallow things will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind, and I won't have a fine and luxurious things of life to leave behind. But I just want to leave a committed life behind. And so it is.
Hello, good morning. Good to see you all. I'm going to sing you a little song. I've been running around, always looking down, and all I see painted faces fill the places I can't reach. You know that I could use somebody. You know that I could use somebody. Someone like you and all you know and how you speak. Countless lovers undercover on the street. You know that I could use somebody. You know that I could use somebody. Someone like you, oh, oh, oh. Someone like you, oh, oh, oh. Someone like you, oh, oh, oh. Someone like you, oh, oh. Up in the night while you live it up, I'm off to sleep, waging wars to fight the poet and the beat. I hope it's gonna make you notice. I hope it's gonna make you notice, yeah. Someone like me, oh, oh, oh. Someone like me, oh, oh, oh. Someone like me, oh, oh. Someone like me, oh, oh. I'm running around, always looking down, and all I see. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. That's Natasha Salou, everybody. And I want to welcome Joy and Sheila to the service this morning. Glad you're here and joining us. Let me see what's going on here. Okay. The spiritual truth that I'm working with today is that what stands in the way becomes the way. What's wrong? Oh, embracing the suck, yeah. You all know I didn't fall off of finishing school to go into ministry. Don't you know that? Yeah. What stands in the way becomes the way. When alcoholism and the behaviors that went with my alcoholism stood in the way not only of my own happiness, but the happiness of those people around me, it was the recovery process of alcoholism that brought me a more authentic happiness than I could have ever imagined. When my weight stood in the way of having pain-free joints, it was the losing of the weight that gave me freedom of movement that I had not known possible. What stands in the way becomes the way. When the pain of being treated as a second-class citizen in the 70s and the 80s because I was a lesbian stood in the way of my own self-empowerment, it was becoming involved in the gay liberation movement that became the way. What stands in the way becomes the way. What stands in the those are the words from Brene Brown. She wrote a book called Dare to Lead, and I was been reading it recently as I'm preparing to retire, and I'm wondering what my next steps are, and so I went back to reread this book, Dare to Lead, by Brene Brown. And as I began to work with the concepts in it, I realized everybody in this congregation can benefit from the wisdom of Brene Brown. So I'm going to use it as a little series. It'll be kind of a chopped up series, but I'm going to keep going through with that book. Since it's called Dare to Lead, let's look at what she thinks a leader is. A leader is anyone who takes responsibility for finding the potential in people and in processes and has the courage to develop that potential. That's what a leader is. See, it's not just corporate CEOs and managers. It's not just head coaches and senior ministers. It's mothers and it's fathers. It's people who are planning MLK contingents in their parade tomorrow. It's preschool teachers. It's friends who have somebody in their circle who's ill, and they're organizing people to go and bring casseroles or take them to the hospital. That's what a leader is. It's really everybody on some level. So now that we recognize what a leader is in our lives, how do we lead successfully? Well, in her book, she has what she calls 4 components of heart-daring leadership. And that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for heart-daring leadership. Number 1, rumbling with vulnerability, or, as she says, describes it, embracing the suck. Number 2, living into our values. Number 3, braving trust. Number 4, learning to rise. Because when we get down, we have to get back up. And everybody in this room has been down at some point or points and gotten back up. The foundation of all of these components is courage. So let's take a look at number 1 today. Rumbling with vulnerability. Often we associate rumbling with gang turf wars, especially if we've seen West Side Story 1 and West Side Story 2, or if we're television wrestling fans, we might know what rumbling is, or we think we know what rumbling is. But more accurately, rumbling is a discussion or a conversation that's defined by a commitment to lean into vulnerability, to stay curious, to stick with the messy middle of a problem. See, we like our fixes right away. If we can't fix it in the beginning, we go to the end, and if it can't be fixed at the end, we just abandon it. But sometimes we have to stay with the messy middle of our problems, to take a break, to cycle back if necessary, to be fearless in owning our part. And as the psychologist Harriet Lerner teaches, to listen to each other with the same compassion that we would like to be listened to in our life. So now we know what rumbling means. And what about the definition of vulnerability? Vulnerability is the emotion we experience at times of uncertainty, times of risk, and times of emotional exposure. Vulnerability is not about winning or losing. It's about having the courage to show up when you can't control the outcome. Vulnerability is showing up for that first date after your divorce. Vulnerability is deciding to try and have a child after your second miscarriage in your life. Vulnerability is apologizing to a colleague about how you spoke to them. Vulnerability is about sending your 9-year-old off to orchestra practice because he so much wants to be first chair, but you're not even sure he's going to make orchestra at all. Brown says that after evaluating over 400,000 pieces of data, that there's not one shred of evidence that vulnerability is weakness. In fact, practicing vulnerability takes enormous courage. The myth that vulnerability is weakness is only one of 6 myths that Brown identifies around vulnerability. The second is, I don't do vulnerability. Our daily lives are defined by experiences of uncertainty, of risk, and of emotional exposure. There's no opting out. There are only 2 options. Either you do vulnerability or vulnerability is going to do you. Choosing to own your own vulnerability and do it consciously means learning how to rumble with this emotion called fear and understand how it drives our thinking, and so we can stay aligned with living lives of integrity. Myth number 3, I can do it alone. Spiritual advancement is a team sport. You can't do it alone. No, where you go alone is not where you will ever find happiness. Neuroscience researcher John Capiano found that to grow into human adults is not to become autonomous or solitary. It's to become one, the one that others can depend on. I love that. It's not about being alone and solitary and separate. It's being that person that other people can depend on. Whether we know it or not, our brain biology has been shaped to favor this outcome. Brown suggests we develop what she calls a square squad. And here's how it works. You get a 1-inch by 1-inch piece of paper. That's really small. A 1-inch by 1-inch piece of paper. And write down the names of people whose opinions of you matter to you. It needs to be small so you can edit to the ones who really matter to you. Fold it and put it in your wallet. Then take 10 minutes to reach out to those people in your square squad and share a little gratitude. She says it can be really simple. I'm getting clear on whose opinions matter to me. Thank you for being one of those people. I'm grateful that you care enough to be totally honest and real with me. I'm going to do it. I hope you will do it too. Get a little 1-inch piece of paper, 1-inch by 1-inch, and just write down the names of people whose opinions matter to you. And then send them a little email or give them a little note that said, you're that person. And I'm grateful to you because I know I can count on you. She says this, she said, who should not go on your square squad sheet? Those who love you, not despite your vulnerability and imperfections, but because of them. The people on your list should not be yes people. It's not the suck-up squad. You want people to say, I think you were out of line there, and you need to clean it up, and I'm with you every step of the way. Or just to listen to you and hear your troubles in your life and hear what you have to say about them. And if you're way off mark, they would say, I'm not sure that that's the way you want to think about that. Stop trying to do it all by yourself. It's not going to work. The 4th myth about vulnerability is that you can engineer uncertainty and discomfort out of it. And I'm one of those people. I like to, what's coming up? Is it going to make me uncomfortable? How can I engineer myself out of it? How can I engineer you out of it? How can I make it not happen? She said, vulnerability is called embracing the suck, not the unpleasant. Vulnerable experiences aren't easy. They can make us feel anxious and uncertain. They can make us want to protect ourselves. And above all, they require courage. Not only to live through the time, but to benefit from that time. Ernest Holmes, our founder, says that you need to look at every problem long enough until you see the face of God within that problem. It's his way of saying that, the way is the way. Now, myth number 5, trust comes before vulnerability. Many of us grew up with the wisdom, if you're stupid enough to let someone know what your weaknesses are, what your vulnerabilities are, it's only a matter of time until they're going to take that information and beat you up with it. See, as with a lot of things that we've learned in this life, we can unlearn this. Brown has an interesting example in her book. She says, I got clarity with this when my daughter Ellen, who was in the 3rd grade, came home from school sobbing. She said, an embarrassing thing happened to me today, and I shared it with a friend. And my friend then shared it with the whole class. So when they came in from recess, everybody was laughing at me. And I just hated my life. I wanted to run away. I don't trust anybody ever anymore. She said the teacher got wind of what happened, and the teacher has a jar of marbles on her desk. And whenever the class does collectively anything good, she puts marbles in it. Whenever the class collectively does something bad, she takes marbles out of the jar. When Brown asked her about, and I just told you that. So she said to Ellen, we trust people who have earned marbles. She said, I decided to use the marble jar as an example of how I could help her learn to trust more and not forget the experience, but not have it define her whole life. She said, so I decided to use the marble jar to work with her around that. She said, when we trust people who have earned marbles over our lifetime. Whenever somebody sticks up for you, supports you, is kind to you, protects your privacy, you put marbles in the jar. When someone is mean or disrespectful, the marbles comes out. We look for people over time, put marbles in and in and in and in, and over time you will find that you have a full jar of marbles. Those are the folks you can trust. Then she asked her daughter, she said, do you have any marble jar friends right now that you can think of? And the kid said, yes, Lorna and Sally are my marble jar friends. Brown expected to hear stories of heroic action to be able to earn a marble. But when she asked Ellen what Lorna and Sally did to earn the marbles, she said, Lorna and I were at a soccer game, and Lorna looked up and she said, oh, there's Oma and Opa. And she said, oh, did they do something special? And she said, no. She said, well, did Lorna do something special for Oma and Opa? And she said, no, she just recognized them. You know, I thought that was nice, especially, and the kid said, I thought that was nice, especially since we have divorced and I have 8 grandparents to deal with. I thought it was nice that she just recognized them. She said, well, what does the other girl do? She said, the other girl is my marble jar friend because she's my half-butt sister. And Brown said, I was kind of worried about what a half-butt sister was, but I decided to go ahead and ask her anyway. And so she went over and she said, you know, whenever I'm late at the cafeteria, my friend scoots over so that I have half of the chair to sit with her on. So she's my half-butt sister. All of this is to say that what we're looking for are small kindnesses from one another. We don't need heroic acts to begin to develop our trust in one another. The last myth, myth number 6, is vulnerability is full disclosure. It's not full disclosure, however, with everybody and anybody. Often when we're in that frame of mind that we want to fully disclose everything, we're really just trying to protect ourselves. Brown uses the example of a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and she goes around and she speaks about the importance of vulnerability in the workplace at many, many Fortune 500 companies. And she said when she was done talking about this idea of vulnerability, the young CEO came in and he said, I'm in, I'm fully in. I'm going to collect all of my team, I'm going to get all of the stakeholders, and I'm going to tell them I'm in way over my head and we're just bleeding money in the company. And she said, you know what, that's not what we're talking about. She was able to tell him that sharing your truth is important. You know, when I'm feeling vulnerable here in ministry, I call another minister or a prayer partner. I don't come up here and tell you, well, sometimes I do, but I try not to so much. It's important that we tell somebody, but it's also important that we make sure that we're telling the appropriate people. It's not a good idea to tell your team or your stakeholders, your stockholders, that they're losing their investments. Parents, it's important for us to find support for our experiencing and learning how to be vulnerable with our kids. But it would be a mistake to tell our kids we don't know what we're doing. It's a myth to think that vulnerability means full disclosure to everybody. Creating change in our lives means hard conversations. It means feedback. It means problem solving. It means ethical decision making, adaptability to change, which are all born of vulnerability. You know, I'm going to keep going with this series. Next week, Reverend Mignon will be up here and share our message with us. But I'm going to keep going with this because I think it's important for us to understand that if we embrace these things called vulnerability, which aren't comfortable, but if we embrace them, we're stepping closer to God. See, God sent us here to be successful, happy, giving, connected people. And we can't do it unless we're willing to be more vulnerable in our lives in ways that help us and help other people. So let's take this message into prayer, knowing that there is only one power, and it's the power of the Most High. That loving God that runs through me all the time. It's not my life, it's God's life. And I give thanks for that. And when I can remember it, when I let all of the small stuff get out of the way and remember that it's God's life that I'm living, I walk taller. I walk with more generosity. I walk with more courage. I walk with more vulnerability. I give thanks for that. I release this word into the law, and together we say, and so it is. If you will take your gift in your hand and repeat after me, money is God in action. I send it forth to bless and to prosper all who come in contact with it. And so it is. Amen.
Hello again. We have another song for you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us, and I'm very happy to see so many people here, healthy and safe. I hope everybody continues to be safe and healthy. It's crazy out there right now, and we're very blessed to be here. Thank you. I still want you when you're grooving, like water on the bottom of a pool. You're moving without moving When you move, I move. You are a fighter movement. The wind, lucid and cool. You're moving without moving. When you move, I move. When you move, I put to mind all that I wanna be. When you move, I can never define all that you are to me. So move me, like the world of a willow tree. You do it naturally. Move me. You override a movement. It's reason being lucid and cool. I know it's no improvement. When you move, I move. You are a cold emotion. There all of you, a verb in perfect view, like Jonah on the ocean. When you move, I move. When you move, I can recall something that's gone from me. When you move, I put in awe of something so flawed and free. So move me, shake like the bough of a willow tree. You do it naturally. Move me. So move me, like you got nothing left to prove and nothing to lose. Move me. Oh, 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 oh. Move like gray skies. Move like a bird of paradise. Move like an art site. Come out at night. So move, babe. Shake like the bough of a willow tree. You do it naturally. Move me. So move me, like you got nothing left to prove and nothing to lose. Move me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, I want to just one thing before we go. We are going to take a trip in June to Boston, New York, and Washington, D.C. We have flyers out there. It's a great price. It'll be a great trip. So if you're interested in going to that area, please check us out. We're a lot of fun to travel with. So please check it out. Okay, Curtis, glad you came. Curtis, happy to have you here. Maestro, I think we are ready.
Make you glad you came. The sun goes down, the stars go down, and all that counts is here and now. My universe will never be the same. I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came.
Kids, we have something we want you to know. We're glad you're here. And we're here for you. And we love you. Thank you. All right, Ava.
All colors are beautiful. We are one.
That's right. That's right. Teams.
Hello. So today in Teen Group, we set and created visual representations of what we would like our 2022 intentions to look like.
Oh, cool.
And our quote today is, "Our intentions are reality."
Great. Thank you. All right. If you will stand, we'll do the benediction. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life. Life is in my heart.
Life is in our heart.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my affairs.
Life is in my affairs.
I take this life out this day,
I take this life out this day,
and I share it with another.
And I share it with another.
And so it is.
And so it is.
So I am.
So I am.
So we are.
So we are.
Amen.